Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here and welcome to another unboxing video. This time we will be unboxing another Blu-ray Steelbook. My darling Fuji Cakes, it looks like we're going to be doing another one of these. Wait, what do you mean it's not Lupin the Third this time? Oh, we're back to Doctor Who. Okay, welcome to another Doctor Who unboxing. What a surprise for this channel. Like I said, the last two for Lupin the Third Part 6 were something a little bit different, as previously it only had been Doctor Who unboxings, mostly Blu-rays and DVDs, but also some CDs and a book. At some point, also some Tortured Audio's CD unboxing. That was probably the only exception, but even then, it's still under the Doctor Who umbrella. So, Lupin the Third Part 6 was the first unboxing videos not part of the Doctor Who franchise. And we're back to Doctor Who for this one. This time it should be the Celestial Toymaker Animation Blu-ray Steelbook, with my copy courtesy of Amazon. Thank you very much. After pre-ordering it in December. So it's been 6 months, six and a bit months since it was announced in late November, it was early December. It was just before the Giggle came out. So about 6 months later, the Celestial Toymaker has finally been released, and it's also been 3 months since the BFI screening at the start of March. Sorry, start bang in the middle of this wait. I did go and see it at the BFI in March. It was in colour, but funny enough, this time round it was not a finished production. We saw an unfinished version of episode 1, and episodes 2 and 3 still had some stuff to be tweaked. Apparently episode 4 was pretty much done though. And fun enough, they were finished in reverse order, 4, 3, 2, 1. As mentioned, 1 was still unfinished. Which is odd that they did the screening in March in the first place, let alone that the episodes weren't done in time for that. But now that the release is out, a further 3 months later, it should hopefully be in its final finished version, since they've had extra time to finish up episode 1, as well as the final tweaks to it and the other 3 episodes. So, I mean, it was more or less mostly done anyway by the screening. It's just that there was one bit during the Blind Man's Bluff game that still needed to be finished. But again, finishing that bit and then tweaks and touch-ups to all of the episodes before the final release. But they've had 3 months, so hopefully by now all 4 episodes are up to standard. At least at the standard of this animation. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate here. When we saw the trailer released in December, the animation looked, to us, absolutely dreadful. It looked really bad. The 3D models looked pretty poor. And it seemed that they were going down the same route as the Web of Fear Part 3 animation, but it looked like it had gotten worse, and it was going to be for 4 episodes rather than 1, so yeah. However, when we saw it at the BFI, actually it turned out to be a lot better. I mean, the character models are still the weakest part, especially for the Doctor. Not so much for the Toymaker, but the character models themselves are the weakest part, but even from the trailer I could tell that the background models and the robots and the toys and stuff, I could tell those were going to be the strongest bits, the backgrounds and the other objects in the room. And yeah, they were definitely the best part. But when we got to the actual animation, it did look a lot better. Even if it's got that, it's still that sort of awkward animation design, but it ended up looking a lot better. And they were given a little bit more creative freedom with the visuals, with certain scenes. And some of them feel very much like what you would see in the Giggle itself. So whether or not this was somewhat partially inspired by that, or they shared some notes with Russell T Davies on it, or he influenced it, I'm not sure, but or gave him some suggestions. Either way, there was definitely some sequences that feel very much like they would fit in with the Giggle. So the 2 episodes are sort of tied in through that, as well as the Toymaker. So yeah, the animation was a lot better for the BFI screening, and it was a pretty fun experience. We've done a vlog on that on Tooniversal's, me and friend of the Tooniversal's channels, Zach, So do check that out, and Will Maddox is probably going to be doing a review of it later down the line. We're doing Tom Baker month at the moment on Hoons, so he's probably going to review it in July. Okay, so now on to the unboxing. Just taking it out of the card, and here we go. That's the back. If you can see, it's got the Trilogic game and the robot. There's the top, there's the bottom, spine, Doctor Who at the Celestial Toymaker, with the ver about it, so it's in the font of the title, and then that. And then there's the front cover. And that's pretty impressive, with the Toymaker reaching down to grab the TARDIS on show on the stage. Or a stage, which actually feels a lot more reminiscent of the Giggles stage rather than the ones from this episode. And I believe that's some more of the toys in the background. So yeah, this episode, this animation is certainly taking a lot of inspiration from the Toymaker's return in the Giggle, as well as the story itself. Rated PG and is a 2-disc set. And I mean, the DVD and Blu-ray, the standard DVD and Blu-ray cover for this also looks pretty good. It's one of the stronger ones for the animation, along with Underwater Menaces. So then, let us unbox this Steelbook. To quote Mr. TARDIS, "Ruin the collector's value forever by removing the plastic film." Here we go. So, if I remove the J card, what are we going to have? Actually, let's do it on the front. We know what the front is. So the TARDIS is on the front. Usually the TARDIS is either on the front or the back of these Steelbooks. If it's on the front, then there's usually something on the back. Maybe the Doctor watching from afar, or something else, like a bit of Macra, or a Dalek, or one of her faces once had two sides of a similar image. Which was that was a really interesting one. I can't remember what Underwater Menace said on its reverse side. So on the reverse side we have, okay, it's an enlarged version of what we have on the J card. Fair enough. But that's still pretty cool for that. That's neat. So to read the description from the J card, sorry, I don't always see what I'm doing with this sometimes. Okay. So, the description is, the Celestial Toymaker sees the Doctor and his companions separated when they come up against the Toymaker. When the Doctor plays the Trilogic game, while the Doctor plays the Trilogic game, Stephen and Dodo are forced to play their own seamlessly childish, but ultimately dangerous games, with the aim of being reunited, and getting back to the TARDIS. Who will be the first to make a false move in this battle of wits, and will the TARDIS ever escape the Toymaker's snare? Fans of Doctor Who have long lamented the loss of the original 1966 master recordings of all except one of the Celestial Toymaker, that being episode 4, by the way. All episodes have been animated in both colour and black and white using the original off-air audio recordings. So it features episodes 1 to 4 animated in black and white and in colour, along with the restored surviving original episode 4 that actually broadcast and has previously been available on the Lost in Time DVD box set, along with a photographic reconstruction of episodes 1 to 3. So episodes 1, 2 and 3 have got reconstructions alongside the animations, and episode 4's the original episode 4. Audio and commentaries, photo gallery, escape room team, First Doctor. We actually saw a clip of that at the BFI as well. That was neat. Emily Cook organising those. The making the animation featurette, and introduction by Sylvester McCoy for the VHS release, or a VHS release that featured episode 4. I think it might have been a First Doctor VHS that included some orphaned episodes. The Second Doctor VHS did the same as did the Daleks' early years and Cybermen early years sets, whilst a third, fourth and sixth Doctor sets just contained a couple of episodes from their eras that were or would be included in their full stories releases. But the first, second and second Doctor and Dalek and Cyberman ones were missing surviving episodes from in incomplete stories, or some cases incomplete at the time. Okay, so it's written by Brian Hales, who would later go on to write the Ice Warrior stories in the second and third Doctor story eras, including the Peladon duology in the third Doctor's era, and also the Smugglers, a few stories after this, as well as a couple of unproduced serials, some of which have been adapted to audio by Big Finish, including another Ice Warrior story and a sort of sequel story to this one, featuring the Queen of Time, sister to the Celestial Toymaker. And that will not be the only story to feature the Toymaker having a family member as a Doctor Who villain, Devil's Court. Although apparently I think the script editor did a couple of writes on this one, which I think was Jerry Davis. I think Jerry Davis did a bit of rewrites on this. The episode is directed by Adam Boyes. Adam Boyes, David Dev Jack and Chloe Grouch for the 2024 production, and Bill Sellers for the 1966 original episodes, with Russell Minton serving as a executive producer for BBC Studios, and David Dejovac as an executive producer for Shapeshifter, both for the 2024 production, with Innisloy producing the original episodes in 1966. The serial stars William Hartnell, Jackie Lane, Peter Purves, surprised they put him Seth after Jackie Lane said before, Michael Gough, Carmen Sylvia, Peter Stevens, and Campbell Singer. I could probably tell you all of their characters. I can't remember who the other actor was who played the Knave. Was it the Knave or the other card character? But he's only in it a little bit, so not really worrying too much. Anyway, so let's open up inside and see what the inside image looks like, and also the discs. Well, first of all, here's the booklet, which looks, as well as the discs, they're the same picture image as we see on the standard Blu-ray and the DVD, which features the same TARDIS on the stage scene, but with a different image of the Toymaker. But the rest is pretty much similar. So if we take that one out and we see the inside, or part of the inside, let's take the discs out. Disc 1, by the way, is episodes 1 to 4 in black and white, animated, original episode 4, and bonus features. It might include the recon on that one. And then episodes 1 to 4 in colour, and some more bonus features on disc 2. So I imagine maybe more of the other extras are included on disc 2. Sorry, this disc is actually being a bit tricky to come out. There we go. So the original episode would probably, the original episode is on disc 1. So I think the reconstruction would just be on disc 1, because then it could be with the black and white original episode 4. And similarly, the episode 4 live action, the original one, could be shown with the animated episodes 1, 2 and 3, so you've got that option. So there's the inside. So it's a bit of the games from episode 1, some of the set around with the Blind Man's Bluff set, which was an interesting scene, and if I'm going to have to rewatch this at some point, so it'll be good, especially this one. I didn't rewatch Abominable Snowmen or Underwater Menace after their BFI screening, so I'm going to have to do that as well as the black and white versions of Evil of the Daleks and Galaxy 4, because I've only seen them in colour. In which case, Abominable Snowmen, this, and Underwater Menace will have to also be the black and white versions, because those ones were colour for the BFI. So, going to have to see how this, or I suppose I have to see this one in colour again as well, because I need to see the final version of episode 1, or at the very least this particular scene, which, as I mentioned, this was the bit that was mostly unfinished. But yeah, neat interior of the game room. So yeah, some good artwork for this Steelbook and also for the standard DVD and Blu-ray by the looks of it. And of course the booklet with the production notes included, written up by, who wrote this one up? Probably Russell Minton. Oh, there's a lot, so I'm going to have to read this later. Okay, who wrote these? I might mention it later. Yeah, the final test, episode 4, was included on the VHS videotape, Doctor Who, The Hartnell Years. So yeah, that would have been what the Sylvester McCoy introduction was talking about. And then Disc 1 content. So Disc 1 includes the Celestial Toymaker animation reconstruction in black and white with audio commentary moderated by Toby Hadbrook and featuring Peter Purves on episode 1, The Celestial Toy Room. Camera operator, he plays Stephen. Camera operator Dudley Darby on episode 2, The Hall of Dolls. Peter Purves, dancer Delia Linden, and makeup assistant Sylvia James on episode 3, The Dancing Floor. And Peter Purves, and animation series producer director David Jack on episode 4, The Final Test, with production subtitles, on-screen text covering the making of the original serial. The original version of episode 4, The Final Test, so the surviving episode with audio commentary with Peter Purves and Dudley Darby, moderated by Toby Hadbrook, and production subtitles, and the photographic reconstruction of episodes 1 to 3, with optional narration by Peter Purves from the BBC Worldwide. I think that was the CD release. Going back to the previous page. Yeah, the off-air recording released in CD with narration from Peter Purves, released by BBC Worldwide in 2001. And I think that's what I've got on my Lost Stories Collection 2 release over back here. So the recon includes the Peter Purves narration, and then disc 2 includes the animated version of the story in colour with the same commentaries on disc 1, photo gallery, the Doctor Who collection, escape room, even though this is not part of the collection, but it will probably be included on the season 3 box set at some point. Interview with Carmen Sylvia, making of the animation documentary, the Hartnell Years introduction, the Sylvester McCoy one I mentioned, and a couple of documents, including camera descriptions from the Radio Times. And then a couple of cast and crew lists from the original production and the animation, as well as original transmission dates and audience approximation for viewerships. So it's basically standard stuff that they've been doing since 2019 with the Macra Terror, really, for those for all of these. So yeah, the Celestial Toymaker. I do recommend checking it out, because when we saw it at BFI, we were actually a bit surprised. I mean, it's not perfect. It's still and at the time it wasn't finished even. So this is the final version. But based on what we saw at the BFI in March, I do recommend giving it a shot, because it's actually surprisingly pretty decent. I mean, it's not one of the best animations, but it's kind of like, it definitely uses the animation and the story setting and tone and feel to its advantage, and it's probably the most out there of the animations, and it definitely uses it to its advantage. But it's not the shitfest we were expecting it based on that December trailer, although the character models are the weakest part of that animation. Especially the Doctor and Dodo, they look a bit awkward. Steven's not too far off, and a Toymaker, he's sort of kind of halfway between Michael Gough at the time and Neil Patrick Harris in 2023, or 22/23. So he's kind of the Toymaker design here. It's not so much clear here, but let's go to the booklet. The Toymaker design here, he definitely does resemble Michael Gough, but it does look like they got a bit of Neil Patrick Harris influence in there as well. More so Gough, but it does feel like they are tying it more with the giggle without directly directly tying it in too much, as that would probably interrupt the original story. But they do have, so there's definitely one scene in part 3 that feels like it's on a, because Will from Universal posted this on Universal's Discord server yesterday or the day before, and yeah, I was reminded. Oh yeah, there was that one scene in part 3, which does feel like it's on an acid trip. Which is, as mentioned, it's one of the things that the animation can do, is do something different, is have something wild and crazy and wacky, a la the giggle, in a scene which probably could allow for it, as it probably was just more of the ballerinas dancing or something. Or maybe they just needed to pad out some time. Either way, this is still a good curiosity to check out. It's definitely better than... Oh, I haven't watched this final version, but the BFI unfinished version was definitely better than what we saw in the trailer, so this should hopefully be even better than that. Well, or at least a finished version of that. It admittedly isn't the greatest, but it allows the animations to explore more grounds when telling the story, especially in the visual. And this is a very visual story, so yeah, it's more interesting with that one than interesting seeing how they take that story. As this is probably one of the worst ones with just the audio. If you were going audio only, you definitely need the pictures or the moving images, and Recon did it well. Lieutenant at least did a fairly good job with its Recon, but yeah, seeing it animated is certainly a lot less, definitely a lot better to experience the story. And some of the character model changes to the supporting characters are pretty interesting, but tie in with the fact that they are toys and games a lot better, especially since they were more or less just the same actors in different costumes each episode. So yeah, rotating costumes for the same actors, so it's a step up there as well, from the original. So yeah, purists of the original who want an animation remake as opposed to something completely different, a reconstruction, an animated reconstruction, they're probably not going to be as fond with this. Whilst those who are happy with the animation being a remake, it's going to be it's doing its own thing whilst staying fairly true to the story, exploring limitations and boundaries the original couldn't have, with the realm of animation, and maybe doing stuff that the original couldn't do because of the limitation of budget or set or practicality. Then yeah, I think it's gonna go down fairly well, outside of some crazy character models and a few odd choices, but it's still a worthwhile watching release. Hello there, Nick from a few days later on Friday the 14th of June 2024. So today I actually went into London on a hidden London tour at Charing Cross Station. As you can tell, I am a bit of a Tube fan. But after visiting that and after meeting my family for lunch at a Wetherspoons near Tottenham Court Road station, well, you decided to go do a little bit of shopping. Well, I wanted to visit FOP and Forbidden Planets like I do now and again when I go to the BFI. And so at FOP, I picked up the Doctor Who The Celestial Toymaker DVD and Blu-ray. That's FOP Shaftesbury Avenue in London, by the way, but there are plenty of other FOPs and HMV stores across the country. FOP is part of HMV, and this is not a endorsement, nor, well, I suppose it's sort of an endorsement, but it's not a paid endorsement or sponsorship. So this is just a personal recommendation, suggestion, and so, yeah. Staff are very nice there, by the way. So I got these, and I thought I'd quickly film a little bit to show comparisons between these and the Steelbook in terms of the front cover. So this is the cover for the DVDs and a Blu-ray, but if we look on the back, similar information, but we've got the pictures from the story up at the top. That spine, the main spine, and if I open up, we have take off the slip cases, we have the DVD and the Blu-ray. So since 2016, they've been using a full cover artwork as opposed to the classic series grey roundel design up at the top, and then the artwork on in the second half. They did that for Enemy of the World and Web of Fear original releases in 2013 as well, and then they sort of adopted that for each classic release, starting with the Power of the Daleks 2016 release, including Enemy of the World Special Edition, which is the only one it's the only one released since 2016 that doesn't include any animated episodes, or in Charlotte's case, animated scenes. In terms of the DVDs, of course, and also for the standard Blu-rays, not including the Steelbooks or the collections. So, opening up the DVD, we've got the clear cases that they've been using since 2020 with the Power of the Daleks Special Edition, and we have the aforementioned booklet and discs. We'll get back to this side 2 cover. But interestingly, the DVD and the Blu-ray also comes with the more exciting products from Doctor Who merchandise booklets. And I'm happy to say that, unlike Underwater Menace, which was more 14th Doctor or 10th Doctor focused with merchandise as opposed to specific Doctors like the collection box sets had previously done, they sort of steered away from it, but they did do stuff relevant to that particular season's Doctor. For example, Season 2 with the first Doctor, Season 22 with the 6th Doctor, Season 9 with the 3rd Doctor. So it was a bit disappointing that they moved away from exciting products relating to this specific Doctor, but because there is some great stuff for the general range, as we see, like with Titan and all, but like something like Big Finish, for example, it would be nice to have a bit of a specific Doctor. Actually, some of the classic Doctors had a few ranges as well, like the 3rd and 4th Doctors, the 8th Doctor has some comics, so yeah, so having specific tying to Doctor stuff, like for the Big Finish audios, for example, is a nice way of promoting that Doctor stuff, and I'm a bit disappointed they kind of moved away from that. But for this, these two, the Celestial Toymaker DVD and Blu-ray, they've got the Toymaker front and centre for the Big Finish one with the Lost Story, so it is promoting the classic series more than, say, the 10th Doctor, which Underwater Menace was pushing due to David Tennant returning as the 14th Doctor. So I'm glad they're pushing the Lost Stories, because that's got a Toymaker tie-in with the Nightmare Fair, as well as also the Queen of Time. Plus, there are some First Doctor stories, there's one pictured here, I believe, that have been turned into Lost Stories audios. Then we got some Doctor Who comics from the last few years mentioned. Then we got the games. Then BBC audiobooks. Again, we've got a Toymaker theme here, like we do on the Big Finish one, as opposed to it's not the First Doctor or Season 3 audiobooks, but it's nice that they're promoting the Toymaker with the Celestial Toymaker audio soundtrack and novelisation audiobooks for the Nightmare Fair and the Giggle, the audiobooks of their novelisations. And then it stops being a Toymaker or First Doctor promotion and just kind of goes a bit more general, as we've got a 10th Doctor vinyl promoted along with some 4th Doctor ones. Church and Ruby Road hardback book. I would have thought they would have put the paperback edition promotion there, as that's going to be coming out next month. Guess not. And then the Escape Room, which ties into... does that one still tie into Time Lord Victorious, or is this just another one? And then the 6 Decades book and Doctor Who magazine and the pin collection, which is still bloody expensive. It's still £100. It was on display at the Forbidden Planet when we went in, and it's still £100 bloody pounds. Still, you get 13 TARDISes for £100 plus the nice box. So I guess it's sort of worth your bucks, especially since each badge individually would probably be about £6, £7, £8 individually. But yeah, and of course the booklet, as previously mentioned. The inside of the Blu-ray is more or less the same. And then behind the DVD discs, we have the second cover for the DVD, and I'll do a swap around in a moment. As for the Blu-ray, as mentioned, it is a bit of the same, except we've got a flappy disc one on the flap rather than side to side. But sometimes the DVDs do the flaps as well, and then once again taking out the booklets. And strangely, the Steelbook for this and Underwater Menace don't include the merchandise guide, so I'm wondering if they're stopping with that for the Steelbooks. And then inside is side 2 of the Celestial Toymaker Blu-ray. Now that's the side I usually keep for the Blu-rays, whilst the DVD ones I keep as side 1. But for the purposes of this video, I'll quickly show you side 2s as they fit before putting them onto my preferred covers. Okay, so here we go. We have the Celestial Toymaker DVD and Blu-ray side 2 covers to match the Classic Series DVD and Blu-ray, or at least prior to the collection, Blu-ray range with the grey roundels up at the top. Black Doctor Who logo, the Pertwee McGann one, BBC DVD, or just BBC on that one, the Celestial Toymaker, and then down here we have the picture, a little bit more cropped for the Blu-ray, because it's smaller of course, so a bit more image on the DVD, and the same could be said for the standard one to a lesser extent. The William Hartnell years 1963 to 66, PG 2-disc DVD, DVD video on this one, Blu-ray for that one. And then the spine, so this is to be aligned with the older DVDs, and they've been doing this for they've been doing double-sided DVDs since 2009 with the new BBC logo, but they did the double-sided one to be consistent, and they've stuck with that since, especially since the introduction of the full cover pictures and the removal of the roundels for the main artwork. Same for the Blu-rays, which kind of started with that anyway, with Spearhead from Space. They did the full picture artwork there, that was 2013 as well. Same for the TV movie, and then they just did roundel double side 2s to line it up with the DVDs, and they've just kind of been doing that ever since, with Sharda onwards for the Blu-rays, and from 2009 on, well, certainly for the Dalek War box set, and then from every release from the start of 2010 for the DVDs. But keeping this side, but with the purple BBC logo, up to 2015, with the exception of the original Enemy of the World and Web of Fear DVDs, and then starting from Power of the Daleks, they were plus those original Enemy and Web DVDs, they did the full cover ones like the Blu-rays. And so here's the back, similar information to as those older DVDs and Blu-rays, but since Macroterror at the very least, they've been putting the writer credits down with the rest of these credits as opposed to back up there, and they've been putting more cast information down at the bottom, plus the animation production credits. That technically started with Macroterror in 2019, Power original release, and Sharda and Enemy of the World Special Edition kind of kept it to a bit more tradition for the back. But once the backs also changed to match the colours of the front, then same with the spine, then that kind of changed as well. I think that was also around the time the logo changed for the front side, so I suppose it's sort of tied in with that. Actually, I think Enemy of the World kept the old logo for the one last time, I think, which was a shame, because I think the special edition of Enemy would look really great with that 2018 logo. I'll have to double check that cover, but I think it did use the Pertwee McGann one instead of the Whittaker one. But I think it would have been a good one to start with the Whittaker one. Oh well, Season 12 would be the first home media release to have it, so Classic Series still got there first. Okay, so I'm going to swap it to my preferred cover for the DVD and then put everything back before we wrap up. So there we go, the Celestial Toymaker animation DVD and Blu-ray. DVD is back to side 1, but I'm keeping the Blu-ray on side B for the covers. That's my preference for it, but if you like having both on side B or both on side A, that's fine. That's up to you. This is my preference, or even the other way around, side B for the DVD, side A for the Blu-ray. Yeah, go for whatever you want. I know a lot of people are very fussy about consistency, and I understand that. I can agree in some places, but for these I'm not as worried about it. But I do like the fact that they do have double-sided covers, for these reasons and the previously other mentioned ones. I'll put them back in their slip cases in a moment, but yeah, basically content-wise on the discs is the same. Booklet for the production notes and what's on the discs is the same, but they also have the merchandise guide as well, which the Steelbook is missing. And they don't have the same artwork on the front and inside as the Steelbook as previously shown, but other than that they're practically the same discs, same content, it's just the packaging's a bit different. But it's still nice to have it on DVD and the standard Blu-ray, as well as also that Steelbook as shown. And it will be on the Season 3 box set when that comes around at some point in the future. Most of the special features should join it. The one with the escape room definitely will. Probably the animation behind the scenes making of, but definitely the two versions of the animation, colour and black and white, and the surviving episode and the recon, as well as that escape room featurette. But I expect all the other stuff will be included on the Season 3 box set itself. It'll probably be on one disc as well if they can compact it to Blu-ray. In fact, they probably could get all of this on one disc if it wasn't for the fact they're matching the DVD ones, which need the second disc, of course, because DVDs can't take as much space as the Blu-rays, but the Blu-ray probably could take all of it on one disc, maybe the second disc if it absolutely needed it, but because they want to match it to the DVD, then okay, that's fair enough. Interestingly, some of those older Steelbooks, they did used to do a third disc for some extra features, like Power's original one had actually Powers was 4 discs, they included DVD discs of the 2 Blu-ray discs included, but Sharda had the extra disc for the other 2 screen versions of Sharda, the 92 one and the 2003 one, the 1992 VHS one and the 2003 webcast one, and Macroterra had Gridlock included on a third disc with its commentaries as a bonus episode, I guess. But then from Faceless ones, they've been matching to the DVDs and the Blu-rays, standard Blu-rays for the Steelbooks, including the Daleks in colour for the in-colour ones. Actually, I think it was the Daleks in colour one that had the more 10th Doctor focus stuff than Underwater Menace, or maybe both of them did. Which was doubly surprising because the Daleks in colour release was after the 15th Doctor arrived. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the Nicholas Payne YouTube channel.